recall petition is not regarding vote. The recall petition has nothing to do with awarding the contract. It has to do with awarding the contract. Take that for what it is. Again, we are focused on the language and the language only of the petition. And that was the tackle it for
Thank you. Me too. Unfortunately, whether we like the law or we don't like the law, that's part of the issue. Right? And so we have to follow what the statutes have. And I've done tons of research myself as chair of the election commission to figure out what it means, because not everything that comes before us, as Ms. Zanani indicated, is accountable. So that's for sure. All right, so shall we go ahead and call for vote? Ms. Zanani?
Yeah.
Mr. Prince?
Yes.
I would say yes too, but it's two votes. Here's the day. So the recall petition will go forward. Mr. Whalen, as I indicated, we have 10 days from today in order to file your petition with the circuit court for your vacant.
And they are familiar with that, Treasurer Shane filed one, so if we show that the circuit court issue will.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Thank you. All right. I think we have our next one. Is that Mr. Campbell? All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I've got thanks to your petition. So I'm not. Okay. Thank you. All right. All right. This is for Mr. Charles Campbell. We, the undersigned registered and qualified voters of the Township of Collin, excuse me, in the County of Bay County in the state of Michigan, petition for the calling of an election to recall Charles Campbell from the office of Township Trustee for the following reasons. On December 22nd of 2025, Trustee Charles Campbell voted to approve the Collin Township Board minutes stating Clerk Kayla Jolanderer's resignation was accepted. No roll call vote or vote from the board occurred on December 8th of 2025 to accept the resignation. All right, and this was submitted by Mr. Greg Pecamo. Is Mr. Greg Pecamo here? Hi, sir. Come on up. Hi, would you state your name and address, please?
Greg Pecamo, 463 East Highway Grove Road, Midland, Michigan, 4664.
Thank you, sir.
I have a copy of minute. Unfortunately, I only had one copy because my copy machine was moving out.
All right, thank you.
On December 8th, there was a motion made to accept the resignation of our clerk. But the motion was made and approved, but it was never voted on. As you can see in there on number 13, that minutes, the one that says Burns on top, that was the original minutes that were taken off of the recording from the meeting. The second one that says Bishano was also, that says December 8th. Number 13 is where the minutes were changed to indicate that a vote was taken, which it never was. On December 9th, I was in the office and I had the sheriff department called on me because I was in the office, and they said I shouldn't have been there because they voted to accept the clerk's resignation. Well, the sheriff deputy listened to the minutes, and he said there was no vote taken, so it was illegal. So that's the problem. And then on December 22nd, as you can see in there, the two trustees and the treasurer both voted, or all voted, to accept the minutes that were on the website, which were illegal minutes. So that's what this is about. And because of that, two people lost their job.
Okay, hold on just 1 second. You said, okay, so I'm looking at the Burns minutes. Who's Burns?
She was our secretary at the time.
Okay.
And she took the minutes off the recording. All the meetings are recorded. She took the minutes off the recording.
Okay. And you said it's number 13?
Number 13, I believe, on there says, you'll see, I had a little highlight on there that says no vote was taken. I really don't know, I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay. Because I think we had the privilege of listening to the recording the last time. This is the same situation, right? Okay, and I don't think there was a roll call vote, but there was someone who was, whoever was trying to make, said something to the effect, you know, we all accept her, we're accepting her resignation. Oh my gosh. And people were saying yes, yes.
Well, they accepted the resignation, but there was no, I mean, there was a motion made.
Right,
and
right,
seconded
there
for the
was no vote, but
resignation.
they accepted a resignation that was tendered to them, is that correct?
Right.
Did that happen?
I believe so, like I said, I wasn't there, but I believe so, I'm just going by the minutes. there.
Yeah, there was an exception of, so she
Well, there
submitted
was an exception,
resignation.
there was they accepted the resignation
Right.
without accepting the wording.
Right, so they accepted her resignation.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
I don't know, I mean,
Does that mean she then resigned and the township accepted it?
well, they accepted her letter, but they didn't take a vote to, you know, to approve it, they accepted her letter.
They accepted her resignation.
Right.
Okay, all right. So I guess that's the ultimate question. If you don't vote, but you accept it, then she really resigned, why didn't she, right? Okay, okay. All right, any questions for Mr. Centerville? Mr. Lovett, any questions from you? Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Campbell?
Thank you for your time. Maybe we should recall the video for the recording of that. Oh my gosh.
Sure.
Because it is crystal clear. If there's a mistake, the mistake was on Mr. Head. He was the chair of the meeting.
He was the one chairing the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir? Oh, yes. And the emails document the whole conversation. All right, we're on number 13, resignation. The clerk can read Kayla Schlander's resignation to all board members and Cook Holland Township residents. Effective immediately and resigning from my position as clerk of Cook Holland County in Bay, Michigan, I also immediately resign from my position on Planning Commission. This decision comes after ongoing and unacceptable conditions within the workplace that have made it impossible for me to continue. The lack of professionalism, respect, and support from board members has created an environment that I can no longer tolerate or be a part of. I will go as far to say that I believe I have been subjugated to sabotage after I was appointed to the Planning Commission. The only reason I lasted as long was because of the support I received from the supervisor, my deputy, and front desk. I will not remain for any transition or handover period. My employment with the municipality ends as the delivery of this letter. Serving the residents of Cook Holland has been a privilege, but internal work environment has left me with no other choice but to step away immediately. I ask the board to accept my resignation on this day of December 8th, 2025. Sincerely, Kayla Schnatter.
I make a motion to accept the resignation without actually accepting the wording of the letter as well.
Second motion, accepting the resignation.
Yes.
Talking with Katie Zanatti last week, I had told her I had something was happening. I had a feeling something was happening, so I told her I hadn't received the resignation, but she hasn't shown up for work for days. So she says she's at home, don't feel good. So I went there and asked her, you know, protocols. I said, we have an election coming up. I don't want the township to be, you know, in a bad predicament. What do we do here? So there's a lot of different issues
zoning, before you try and learn all this other part, you need to learn your job first. I understand you want to branch out, but you need to get good at what you do first. And so I checked, because, you know, word was going around, apparently, that she was going to resign tonight before we were notified. Kind of interesting. So I actually checked to see how much she had actually been doing in the system. And I just found it to be kind of interesting. So the clerk's office is responsible for accounts payable, responsible for payroll, and has some things to do in the general ledger. Those are 3 different applications that we have. My part in those, a little bit more in general ledger, but my part in those has to do with reconciling. Reconciling each month, I have to clear out everything that comes out of the payroll check, every AP check, so on and so forth, and do some general ledger postings, journal postings. So I actually looked, 4/15, I believe is when she was actually appointed in, and she had Greg in there, and we were told that with all the years of experience that Greg had, that he would be great at training her and getting everything just working fantastically. So, in the time from 4/15 to 12/3, there were a total of 527 records created in the general ledger system. I actually went down and saw how many were hers. Out of 527, 34 were hers. That is just over 6% of the work that was happening in the general ledger. Payroll from 4/15 to 12/1/25, there was 1,528 records during that time. Of those, she was responsible for 37 out of 1,528. Just over 2% of the activity happening in payroll. In accounts payable, 4/15/25 to 12/8/25, there was 1,895 records created. Of those, Kayla's name was on 73 of them, which is almost 4% of the work that was completed in 8 months. So, had she actually been taking the time to do her job and to learn her job, she probably wouldn't have been so stressed out. Instead of having Greg do it and then not being able to fix the errors that were made, which were brought up many, many times, dating all the way back to when she started, that still haven't
there, just to make a little clarity, so I just press clarity there. We accepted her resignation, can I make a motion for payroll, and I could be wrong for legal, that we could, and if we can look into it, with you and her on check signing, if we can legally do it. Well, I did, Googled it and ChatGPT'd it and grabbed it, and they all did come to in a special assessment for a short term. It's a temporary for a short term of something like this. It states that we can, but I just want to ask.
So on two different times, it was comment time. First time was yes. Second time, we accepted it, no objections. And then there is this.
Who has the ability to call the vote?
Brad Eddy.
Who?
Brad Eddy,
Brad Eddy?
the supervisor.
Okay.
He elected not to.
So he fails to do this, do the motion on the floor?
Yes, ma'am. If anyone.
Does anybody have any questions for Trustee Campbell?
You just submitted, and I'll share this too. What is this, what is this, the December 22nd meeting, roll call officers, Trustee Whalen, with the point of order, you have the record of questions, Slander resigned. She was there,
Brad, yes.
so she was there. And it was accepted by the board. Everything motion to amend the agenda, that Slander is seconded, but amend the agenda as well. Remember? No.
I'm sorry, Ms. Sinani,
Here.
accepted her resignation on the 22nd.
Let me see that. So that's the December 22nd meeting.
Yeah. Here was the, this is the one number 17. And when we say the minutes, one would be clear that those minutes said that a person by name of Troy was put on the planning commission, and a person by name of Troy was not. And that's why that draft had been amended just before this issue. It really boils down to there are certain people that would like certain people not in office, period. They're refusing to accept the vote of the board in the vote of consensus. It's over. Let's go forward. Leave the past in the past. And they just continue to drudge up the past. The past is we had first Sherry Cruz resigned. Second, we appointed Kara Chandler, and she chose. Nobody wrote that resignation letter but her. And she had not been in the office. And that is why people were asking what happens. So if you're looking into the future, nobody has a crystal ball, but you must know what happens.
Do you know if Kayla Schlanger, the current clerk isn't here, but do you know if she's filed for office? That clerk position is going to be on the August 2026 ballot, and so really she did still want to be clerk. How long can I sign up? Does anyone know if she's filed for office?
So was Ms. Schlander, was she the clerk, the elected clerk?
She was the elected clerk, and Brett Pettimall was the deputy.
So
She was appointed
She
clerk.
was the
Her.
appointed clerk. The clerk who was elected in 2024 resigned.
Sure.
Early in 2025.
She was
wants to
Okay. And then she was appointed to fill the spot, and then she
resign.
Okay.
Did.
yeah, right, okay, so that's what her job
But
was.
we have, now they're on their third clerk of the year. I guess. Yeah, so
The
yeah,
term.
the term.
Term.
Okay.
And that's the point I asked is, this is an elected position. And same with pretty much all of us, if someone else wants it, you kind of for it, then it is a
this right now is an appointed position, but it is an elected position, and if anybody wants it, then they need to get their signatures and put on the ballot, correct?
Correct.
Oh, it's only $100? Oh, that's easy. All right. Oh, I just said it was easy. Okay, got it. Good enough. Okay, I just didn't realize that. So does anybody file for that?
Not that I'm aware of, because they do file with the township and then I'm coordinating it afterwards, but
When's the deadline?
2 weeks, I think.
22nd, isn't it?
Okay.
21st.
The 21st.
And that's not exactly a question for you, but that's kind of the process I really haven't understood with the reason for this recall. You know, if I worked for McDonald's and was fired from McDonald's for a reason that I didn't agree with, I guess I would try to get the CEO fired and try to get the job back.
Yeah.
So I've never really thought that this is the right avenue to go through to still get the job back. But we do agree with it. Oh, but it's not. This is not.
Okay. All right, any more questions from Pastor Powell?
I don't
Thank you.
What you just said, but Pastor, that's the other side. Brian, they bring up that he works for the city of Saginaw. In my case, people have made comment that, well, don't use the federal government in a meeting. I did supervise the thugs. And, you know, it's not appreciated. It's clearly appreciated. Persons get all negative and constantly remain negative because you are who you are.
Well, I would assume that most of the township jobs though, are also, some of them are part-time, some of them are full-time, so other people
This is
throughout the community would have to have other jobs, so, and other positions.
Yes, this is extremely, as a trustee, part-time.
Yeah.
It's a $5,000 a year
Right,
salary.
right, so we have to have other positions.
We had 26 meetings last year.
So, okay, thank you so much. Anybody would like to respond? Mr. Bull?
Good morning.
Morning, just get your name real quick.
Jeremy Boone.
Thank you, sir.
Fraser.
Go ahead.
I have attended Cockrell Township board meetings for 7 years. I was a full-time firefighter for Cockrell Township, and in that position, I had to attend as a liaison between the fire department and the township board. So if we had something to bring up, she wasn't able to. I've attended. I've seen several supervisors, clerks, trustees come and go through our township. Something that I kind of want to point out. I believe you guys have received several copies of minutes of Cockrell Township. If you look through those copies, you'll see motion made, motion seconded by whoever made it, whoever seconded it. And then you will see either pass or a roll call vote. Historically, in my opinion, all motions in board meetings use roll call or all in favor vote. Historically, if money or a contentious issue is made, a roll call vote is taken. So that person's yay or nay is actually something, I'll say. I attended that meeting that you guys just listened to in Trustee Campbell's private recording. As you, all three of you, or four of you, I don't know if she's not official, I think she's the secretary in your recording.
Probably more official than we are.
Heard. The motion to accept was made by the Shane. The motion to second was made by Mr. Whalen, by Trustee Whalen. Mr. Eddy then called for discussion. That is normal procedure during votes. At no time was a vote taken. At no time was, when I say vote, no, all in favor, all against. I listened to the recording of your guys' hearing, and it was brought up. The Shane openly admits she went in and changed the minutes from what the secretary wrote to the official township recording. Shortly thereafter, the secretary no longer employed by the township. The only yes on the recording was trustee Wayland. Wayland then, shortly thereafter, moves to a new motion for payroll before a roll call or all in favor vote statement.
But did Mr. Eddy and Supervisor Eddy say, hey, we got a motion on the table, we need to vote? I didn't hear that at all.
No.
Isn't it his
No.
responsibility to control the meeting and to vote up or down, or say, this is, like you just said, this is a contentious vote, we need everybody's thing? Isn't it the chairperson of any meeting's responsibility to call for a vote?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's not, because you as a trustee can't put up your hand and
Nope.
say, oh, I'm going to
I
jump in
will
here and call for a
encourage the
vote.
three of you
Right.
to go to the unofficial YouTube channel where they are recorded. Our whole board has an issue. There's times Mr. Whalen and Mr. Campbell, and I don't always disagree with these two.
Yeah, but there was no vote call.
There was no vote. There's several
There was no call for a
procedural
vote.
errors.
There's a
in
procedural
almost
error from
every
the chair.
meeting. There's a
Okay,
reason we have a meeting tonight,
right.
because of those procedure errors 2 weeks ago or 7 days ago.
Cheryl, what is the intention of specifically trustee Campbell over supervisor Eddy for recall? Because for my understanding, that. So the intent of this is to recall trustee Campbell over the violation of the open meeting act. We've agreed, trustee Campbell, all the trustees, they cannot call for a vote. What is the intent behind recalling specifically trustee Campbell over the language, and not the individual who called for that?
I cannot speak to that recall specifically.
Well,
The intent,
Well,
because
the
I'm not
only reason I
the
asked, the only reason I asked you is because you mentioned this is a grassroots effort and an organized effort to try to recall these individuals, which you have said you are involved with that group.
Yep. When this was brought up in that group, it was because of transparency and the way the vote was changed. And
In the minutes.
the way the minutes were changed, sorry, yes, let me clarify that. I'm going to tell you, the room full of people that are in this grassroots movement, none of us are college doctorates, $200 a month, ChatGPT helps us with this. It's not a very common thing.
Jeremy, that's okay.
Yeah, Mark,
It's not a very common thing to have to go through.
and I understand that.
That's the process is for.
I'm trying to understand the intent. That's what I'm asking.
To bring transparency back to our township. Like I said, nobody's ever going to agree with anybody that's what there's majority and there's a minority. That's all it boils down to, and we as this group feel this is not heading in the right direction.
Let me jump in here real quick.
Yep.
So then, I know this is Mr. Peckham, but then when the December 22nd minutes came out, there was this accepting of the resignation again. Is that another issue?
The meeting after her
Have the
resignation,
record reflect that Ms. Shalander resigned and it was accepted by the board, that is in the draft.
so as I recall from attending that second meeting, Kayla Shalane,
I know I stumbled through Shalander or
yes,
Yeah.
her,
That
the
Kayla.
former clerk, I
Ms.
guess,
Taylor, yeah,
the second former clerk.
got it.
She showed back up to that meeting,
Uh-huh.
and at the board table, the 3 of the board members had a problem, so they accepted that. She wanted to come back. She stated in her resignation letter,
Right.
and like I said, this is me speaking, not Kayla. I wish she could attend these. My personal belief is she filed that resignation under duress. She references the hostile work environment that she received from trustee, the channel, whatever the channel's position is, director, I believe. Like I said, there's a lot of issues, and honestly, you guys know. Every one of our board members, except for Mr. Walden, is now up for recall.
Okay.
The grassroots campaign is giving Mr. Walden a chance to do with it right. So to say that this is a personal attack on anybody,
Is Mr. Walling a trustee also?
Walden? Walden is a appointed clerk at this time.
Okay, he's the gentleman who filed to run for clerk.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
So just to give some clarity of what's going on, this is not a backstabbing from one board member to the next. If it is, like I said, that's not happening in our meetings that you're holding in this group. So,
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Come on, ma'am.
You see your accident. You know, I'm going to bring this up from the last one, that the last petition talked about Kayla's rescission letter on the 18th. And Trustee Campbell gave you the letter for the 17th. Well, you know, she actually did send a letter on the 18th, which is, I'm sure, whoever turned in the petition was referencing, which I didn't know about until just a few weeks ago when I received the emails from Trustee Whalen.
Okay.
Now, why Trustee Campbell instead of Brad Eddy, Supervisor Eddy? Supervisor Eddy made an error. It was not intentional that he did not take a vote. He just didn't do it. What the other people did, what Trustee Campbell did, was he purposely voted for incorrect minutes. Because then what happened at the December 22nd meeting is that Treasurer DeShano looks over at Trustee Whalen, and Trustee Whalen says, oh, I nominate to appoint Brian Walby. Now who's Brian Walby? Brian Walby has been Treasurer DeShano's deputy treasurer. And it's also her daughter, Lena, her fiancé, I don't know what his name is. That's her father. So that's going to be her father-in-law. So it's going to end up being, they're going to be in-laws through marriage. And it's in my opinion that the hostile work environment was to get rid of Kayla so that her soon-to-be relative through marriage was appointed.
Okay. And yes, you're right. I think it was just a simple error. Sometimes meetings can get rolling and
Yes.
like today, you get rolling and you forget.
Yep.
So yes, you're probably right. It was an error, and unfortunately, it's caused a real snowball effect as to what's going on here. So, all right.
And so instead of voting again, because she had sent in this, I mean, I can give you this copy.
No, I got it. I've got several copies. We've got
From the 18th?
yes.
Okay.
The type of copy of the 18th,
Okay.
the one where she resigned, and then she rescinded, she got the wrong date, she got a new one. Yes.
You know, when you look at the minutes that were passed that Ms. DeShano had.
I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in just for a second.
Yeah, sure.
You know, we're talking a lot about, or maybe we aren't, maybe it's twofold, a lot about Ms. Kayla Schlemmer's job and whether or not she wanted it.
Right.
But, you know, it's interesting, does she want this job? That's
Yes.
number one. Okay.
She did. She wanted it back.
Does she want it now?
I don't know. I haven't
Okay,
seen that.
because it seems like that's a lot of focus over something we don't
Well-
have information on. That's number one. And number two, the other thing is the process of what has happened, and so I
Right.
understand that.
Right.
So,
I mean, in the original minutes from Jamie, the previous secretary.
is that the one with the draft on the front?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
you need to understand, Ann, that
Okay, I'm sorry.
that minutes can be, you can't say the previous minutes, because it doesn't sound like they were accepted, because they have a huge draft stamp, which means
True.
that they have not been corrected. And you were able to get a copy from her of draft minutes that could be correct or not correct.
Right.
Okay, just so that's clear.
And Ms. DeShano had taken it upon herself to correct those before she presented them to.
Anybody should correct them if they're not accurate.
Okay.
Correct? I mean, that's what draft means, right?
Right.
Okay.
So Ms. DeShano then changed it to accept the resignation from the clerk while not accepting assertions in the letter submitted. So how can you pick and choose what you can accept in the resignation letter?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Don't know.
Okay, but again, you know, as Jeremy Blumen pointed out, if you look at the minutes, everything, or most everything, it says roll call vote, and then it gives who voted. This one says, after much discussion of the situation, all in favor, yes. So I come back to, if these were incorrect, then why didn't they vote on her resignation? Again, right, again, which they did.
That's a question for your supervisor, you should ask them.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead, Ms. Sonati, do you have any comments? Mr. Prince?
No, all right.
I don't have any comments. Yeah, it's pretty clear that we're what's going on. So, all right, Ms. Sonati, vote.
Since the last petition that we received, the last 3 years for Charles, they did remove that question of the date. I'm going to let the voters decide on whether they think that this is a good reason or not, on whether they're just approving minutes or not approving minutes. So I'm going to vote yes.
You know, I'm struggling with these. We're supposed to focus on the language, so not matter in this situation. We believe it is factual in nature. So,
And 2 votes, motion passes. So the recall will go forward. Yeah, I'm going to say that. I will vote yes also because I think the language is clear. My personal opinions, obviously that there's been incredible strife, as everyone I think can agree here today, as to what happened, right down to the drafting, right down to a missed vote that if it would have been done, we would not be here, right? And so, unfortunately, that's something that's going to have to be discussed with your township and within your township and with your supervisor. But when we look at the clear intent of the language is clear and factual, even though that there are obviously incredibly 2 sides to the story, but I will vote yes. All right. Mr. Campbell, Reverend Campbell, you do have 10 days from today to file your appeal.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for being late.
No problem. Have a blessed day.
I will.
Because God knows.
Oh, he does.